Would you say that you are? I mean, obviously you're a fashion designer primarily, but would you say? I mean, you're as well known for being other things apart from being a fashion designer. But I guess that's still your profession, right? I mean, you call yourself a tailor's apprentice on Twitter.
Yeah, apprentice of a tailor, exactly. Actually, I started at the age of 7 with my grandmother to that job, and with years with education plus working, up to 1980, I was already successful in my business and in my job in Turkey. Fashion was part of my life, but not just the couture and the fashion. Designing the life itself was the part of my life. Of course, I was known as a TV host, a writer, fashion designer, etc. But after all those years, I was very well known being an activist as well, because I was fighting for animal rights, environment, LGBT rights, democracy, human rights, rights for everybody, and freedom of speech, etc. So I became more famous with my activist part comparing to my artist part.
Now, if I can, I imagine that I'm a judge for a second, so that I can put on the wig.
Judge me.
And yeah, I would like to judge you because everybody else judges you, and so I feel like
I used to. I don't get bothered for that.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly like no stranger to being in the court of public opinion. So if I was the judge, I thought I would say, Barbaros Şansal, you have been accused of being incredibly offensive, fabulously gay, and a danger to Turkish society. How do you plead?
I'm proud of it.
You've got to say guilty. Really guilty. You're guilty.
No, actually, it's not guilty. It's
you have
reality.
No guilt. You have no guilt.
No, I have sins, but not guilt. It's the reality of the society. I mean, look at Zeki Müren, Bülent Ersoy, Fatih Yürek, all of those figures, which can be the fasting table at the Ramadan in the Erdogan's palace. If they are accepted, why not me?
So have you ever been invited to the Ramadan table?
No way. In the beginning of the era, yes, Emin Erdogan has invited me for some meeting with Cemil İpekçi. By then they were setting up the İSMEK, which is educational courses of the mayor of Istanbul. But I had an excuse because I was going to go to Ebrat and I cannot accept the invitation. So since then, they never invited me. Well, I'm very pleased they didn't invite me because we don't have anything in common, John. I mean, our point of view, our philosophies, our beliefs, our decisions, it's totally opposite. So there is nothing in common. Why they should invite me?
Well, anyway, thank you for coming on my podcast, Barbaros. Which
I think you're giving me an opportunity. That's I don't find that quite often. I'm censored almost all around the Turkey. So this exits is okay.
I feel like it's probably easier doing a podcast in English about Turkish politics because they're less likely to bother to translate the whole thing and then get angry about it if you speak all in English. So.
Yeah, I don't mind what they think about it. Actually, I never filtered my thoughts between my tongue, because if I think about what not to tell, I will lose the control what to tell. So
But I mean, do you also like getting in trouble? I mean, you've been in trouble for a number of times. For our listeners who are not already acquainted with Barbaros Şansal, you are, as well as being a fashion designer, an activist, writer, television presenter, and Twitter sensation, you are obviously no stranger to controversy, having been a long-standing activist for gay rights. You played a leading role in the Gezi Park protests because your studio was just next to Taksim Square. And you were also jailed for 3 months in 2017 for criticizing the Turkish state, criticizing Turkish society in a social media video, where you said
sarcastically.
Yes, I mean obviously.
Sarcastically, I was just complaining about the time zone change with the pressure of Turkey on Cyprus Isle. I was criticizing the arrested journalists. I was criticizing the corruption. I was criticizing the radical Islamism, etc., of pedophilia. And I say, drown in your shit. If you do all this thing, you will be drowning in your shit. And they created a mess out of this because the reason was not my criticize. The reason was they presented it like I broadcasted this video after the deadly Reyna attack, nightclub attack by the radical Islamists in Istanbul.
Which happened around the same time.
No, actually, my video was broadcasting 12:05, actually, right in the New Year's Eve. But the attack was 2 hours later. 1st of January, nothing was in the public. But 2nd January, they targeted me to close the reaction of the Reyna attack. So they put me in a target. That's how it started. But before that, I have been attacked, with blood in my face. Remember those scenes in front of the Taksim Square. I have been taken away with the MIT service with 2 cars into the forest for questioning in somewhere skirts of the Istanbul city, etc. I have been through a lot, but this is Polish for me, actually. If I've been attacked so much, that means I can bother them. So if you don't bother the Turkish society, they don't move. You know some about the Turkish society, If you don't bother the society, they don't react.
Obviously you've got a big mouth, haven't you, Barbaros? It gets you into trouble, even if you don't mean it to. You do. Do you like getting into trouble?
Yeah. Actually, not big enough for oral, but big enough to speak. Spicy. Actually, as I told you, I cannot plan what not to tell. I'm not a pretender, and I don't go behind my finger on these things. If I have an idea or a thing or anything coming up to my mind, I don't filter it. I just declare. That's freedom of speech and freedom of thinking. If you can think freely and you cannot tell, then there is no freedom of speech. So I'm tough sometimes. I know I can be a very sharp tongue, actually, sometimes. I know it. But this is my style, actually. It's like in fashion. I have a style in fashion, dressmaking. I have a style in declarations. I have a style in sex. I have a style in traveling. I have a style. This is my style. I'm a stylist.
Now, obviously, I have to, as a journalist, I have to declare that, I've known you for a number of years. We met when I was living in Istanbul in 2014 through our mutual friend, Tara Grady, who is a fantastic Irish
lady
activist.
And actually, they were this Bravo Foundation, which were working for the case of using extraordinary tear gas in Bahrain. And all the team from all around the world were in Istanbul. And that day, the 31st of May, I guess it was, all these teams, the foundation teams from Afghanistan, Bahrain, UK, Ireland, all those activists, we were sitting in Taksim Square and police attacked Gezi Park with a lot of tear gas. So that's how I met Tara via you, and we had a free hug demonstrations in Taksim Square. We met each other in Dublin as well, Dunlawore, etc. We still see each other and support each other because she's a great lady. And thank you to her that she introduced you to me, actually.
Yeah, I was in Istanbul at the same time as Tara was for that conference that we had on Bahrain, because I was also working on human rights in Bahrain at that time. But I saw the end of the Gezi Park protests, but I didn't meet you at that time. It was a year later that I
was
came
in
back.
first night. I was in first night. But before that, before the Occupy Gezi, months ago, I was still collecting signatures to stop the project. Even I was participating a TV show with Balçiçek İlter Pamir on Habertürk, Memleketin Hali, the situation of the country, that program. Even I pushed her to record before they start to close the park. I mean, we were trying to save the park much before the occupation. So first night, it was 10:30 or something like that in the evening. Mücella Yapıcı, which is Turkish, her.
Architect.
She just phoned me. Yeah, architects member. She phoned me up, Barbaros, you are closed, run. There is something going in the park. So I was just running from apartment to the park with my pajamas and robe de chambre on. Actually, I walk in the car and I said, stop this. So I was one of the five first went into the park that night. It was on the 29th of May, actually. And then on the 30th, police took the park. And 31st, we took the park back. And until the mid-June, we demonstrated. We set up the library. We set up the kindergarten. We set up the food and everything. Even the paramedics, 3 sections I've been working for. So all doctors were coming to my apartment to get shower and rest and go back to duty. It was actually, it's front of my apartment, actually, Gezi Park, almost. So I have a right to protect it because it's my land.
Are you concerned still about what's happening? Because obviously, I think they've transferred the land of Gezi Park to this foundation.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. They cannot build on top of it. Plus, it's updated. Gezi Park originally, park number 2, designed by Prost, which is an ex-Paris mayor. The park number 2 is equal to the Central Park in New York. Same periods, those 2 parks, and it starts from Beşiktaş, where the Çırağan Palace is. From this area, connects to the embassy's gardens on the İstiklal Pera area. So in every revolution, in every government change, piece by piece, we were losing this green area with Hyatt Regency, Intercontinental, Hilton, military hotel, Swiss hotel, etc. Piece by piece, they were grabbing and taking the parks piece by piece. This part is the last part that exists in the center of the city, in the heart of the city. And actually, this area, Gezi Park, is normally an Armenian cemetery in the past. Then on top, they make a military building. Then they break it down, and then they make it park, etc. We won't let them to do anything on top of it. This is actually doesn't matter. They transfer to foundation, but they cannot destroy the Gezi Park anyway. I mean, they won't try this. The reaction will be enormous. Because 10 million people went on the street. We lost 9 young guys. They've been killed by the police force, etc. So I don't think the government can provocate the society with Gezi Park again. Still, every declaration of Erdogan pronounced the Gezi Park. They still have a big fear because Gezi Park was the biggest demonstration of the Republic of Turkey history, and it was not organized and planned by any political group or any dış güçler, this foreigner things.
I mean, the government still tried to say that it was, obviously, but the government will always try.
Osman Kavala, etc., to try to blame, but no, it was just a reaction. It was coming step by step. It didn't happen in one night. Like setting up the Turkish Republic was not done overnight. It started with Tanzimat, İttihat, Terakki, etc., almost 50 years before the declaration of the Republic was prepared. The Gezi Park was not just one night reaction. It was prepared for a long time with the reaction and pressure. And suddenly, when they tried to break it down, the park, the people reacted and then moved around the country.
It definitely,
and we did. We won. Gezi Park is there. So this is the result.
I mean, it definitely feels like it was a pivotal moment in the history of modern Turkey where the kind of opposition set down a marker in terms of what they wouldn't allow the government to do. And I think it also really had an effect, probably psychologically, on the government and on Erdogan himself, in terms of, I think
it was a
he was shocked by it.
Shocked by a breaking point. Actually, when actually they provoked it. Instead of making a negotiation, they provoked it and trying to get profit out of this vandalism, etc., terrorists, blah, blah, for the Gezi people. Chapuling went into the English language and this.
Looters,
they provoked
they called them.
Yeah, but we didn't loot anything. We were not vandals. We were, I mean, the mothers were there protecting the park. You know, all the story about it. But they took advantage of this occupation, and they wanted to show those secular and modern people like a devil to the society, which didn't work, actually. Didn't work. Standing man, you know, this movement. I was the second standing man in the Taksim Square. And thousands of people all around the Turkey were just standing on the street doing nothing. That was another demonstration. It was so creative, ironically, and it was spread all different Kurds, nationalists, LGBT, football teams, business workers, bring all different stuff, different people into the one place and make a solid power. That was very important. This was a breaking point for the modern history of Turkish Republic, and it still exists.
You're I mean, obviously you're quite a knowledgeable person about Turkish history. I always enjoy talking about Turkish history with you. You also, I think you taught fashion history at university as well.
I am the Turkish history anyway, because I'm 63 and the Republic is 93 years old. So
yeah, you just behave like a child. So, you know, like if people forget that you're 63 years old when you behave like you're, 5 years old. So
but I like to staying 5 years old, so naive, and so I'm poisoned. I keep this my childhood because it's my motto of life. Actually, being so naive. And
I think adulthood is a trap, and people shouldn't grow up.
Yeah, you just you torture yourself. Actually, you're behaving what the other wants. So that's that changes you and makes you stressful, makes you someone else. So be yourself. Turn your hatchbacks into your weapons. Everyone has hatchbacks. I mean, I don't mind. I'm the best. Who's the next? Fuck the rest, Joan. Who cares? Who cares?
So I was going to say maybe to go back in time a little bit. I wanted to ask you to tell me how you became a fashion designer, because I was thinking, okay, you're 63 now. You must have been 23 when the 1980 military coup happened. Was that?
I was 20. I was 20.
Okay,
almost 20.
And you went to London to study fashion after that.
I escaped.
Was that because of
the military coup? I was arrested because I had the red Converse French shoes, and I was accused being communist because I had the red shoes on my feet.
That's really hilarious, because when my dad went to do human rights work for Amnesty International in
Blue Book.
No. This is a different time. So he went on behalf of Amnesty International to do. I think he was doing election watching in like Argentina or somewhere like that. And my dad always used to like to wear red socks. And because he was wearing red socks, he was like arrested in Argentina because they thought he was a communist. Because maybe like in the newspaper they published like British politician he's obviously a communist because he wears red socks. So
they almost say that nothing changed, actually. But Argentina and Turkey is very similar to each other culturally and economically, as you know. The thing is, I was arrested and abused being communist, and then I had to leave the country because military coup has happened in 1980 with Cannoneer. And so I had to go. I had no money, nothing. I was in university by then, in Marmara University, but I find a cheap flight ticket with Balkan Airlines, by then Soviet bloc, by Bulgaria, and with no return ticket. By then Turks, they didn't need a visa for UK, they were visa-free citizens of Europe, and without return ticket, $100 in my pocket. 7th of November, I flew to London. without knowing anyone, without knowing where to go. I was lucky and attractive enough to find someone in the same day. And I moved down into Kensington directly, actually, then Holland Park Avenue, the beach, actually. I know the British Society. And then I went to Imperial College, Royal Academy, with one of good friends of mine's birth certificate. I was able to study. First, I went into the Inner London Education Authority with this birth certificate, and I went to post office
with
and
somebody else's birth certificate.
Yes, by then you didn't have in UK the identities with pictures, and you were going to get your passport, visitor's passport with birth certificate from the post offices. So I got the visitor's passport with my picture on. I was Stephen Francis Evans from Liverpool. And my father was because my accent suits actually a little bit.
Really?
My father was
I can't
actually not.
I can't imagine you doing a Liverpudlian accent.
No, I can't. But still, it's a different accent comparing to High London people. So for them, the rest is same for Londoners, those. And then my father in my birth certificate was a railway lorry truck driver. And my mother was a magician assistant.
Right.
In my birth certificate. Right. So all my teachers knew I was not Stephen Francis Evans. They knew the reality, but I was talented and I was good with them. So they supported me for years. I got my diploma with my picture on, but as a Stephen Francis Evans, actually. And I used to work for Stringfellows in Hippodrome. I used to make shirts, etc. Actually, at the same time, because by then we didn't have the credit cards, mobile phones, or international calls were not passed. And I was in self-exile, so I had to keep my life going. And I managed it in 4 years. After the education, I went to Switzerland, get married, etc. I turned to Turkey in 1989 and started with my master Yildirim Mayruk for 32 years before retirement.
Some people might be surprised to hear that you got married and you have a daughter as well, don't you?
Yeah, 37 years old right now. She's a doctor. She's Swiss.
Then I was going to ask you, do you see any similarities between the repression that happened after the 1980 coup and the current situation in Turkey, and the fact that so many people want to leave now because of the government and economic situation?
In 1960, military unrest between the period of 1950 to 1960. In 1962, we had a new constitution, which was very liberal and modern and secular. But after 1980 revolution, because of those politics, and Turkey went more center-right. Actually, how they describe it. In 2003, when Erdogan's regime started to come with the mayor and the government, etc., it's almost 20 years now. In the beginning, for 5 to 8 years, they were okay. They were very democratic. They were for human rights. Headscarf problem has been solved, etc. Economy was going well. But as he declared, democracy for them is not a target, it's a tool. That's how he declares. Once they finish with democracy, they went to their own road, which is radical Islamism and autocrat actually, at the moment. So people are broke. They change the constitution. They want to change the constitution again. They change the parliamentary system. They change everything. And this tyrant political party became like a holding company in the country. And if you are pro-Erdogan, you have all the rights. But if you are against Erdogan, you don't have any rights. Today, you saw what's happening in the courtyard of HDP party for Demirtas case. Actually, so the AKP regime is started to fight with everybody. Like you remember 15th of July, coup attempt, whatever it is. Well, Gulen movement was a very big partner of Erdogan for years and years. Overnight, it became a terrorist group. At the moment, other things where they were in partners and they were very good. Overnight, they create an enemy. At the moment, economically and politically and socially, Turkey is bankrupting. So today they declared 3 weeks lockdown. 3 weeks lockdown, and government doesn't support the citizen for that. How people will stay until the 17th of May, staying in. So all the youngster wants to leave. Not only the secular ones, also the young guys, which is raised 20 years under the Erdogan's regimes, are unhappy. Pro-Erdogan's even wants to leave the country. And those Islam supporter people doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia or Chechnya or Pakistan. They all want to go to Europe, UK, and States. So, this pushing the regime that doesn't fit to the society, now creating a huge stress, especially the foreign ministry of Turkey, which I find it always in my life, which I know the ambassadors of UK, etc., very similar to British foreign affairs. But with Erdogan regime, we lost all those diplomats, which can speak several languages, well-bred, well-educated. Pro-Erdogan's has been replaced, which doesn't have a talent, doesn't have an experience. And the result, now we see the problem in the Eastern Mediterranean, the Armenian genocide, etc., with European Parliament declaration last night. And van der Leyen today declared some behavior of Turkey a couple of hours ago, what's happened in Ankara about this Sofagate scandal. I mean, Turkey doesn't behave like an international country and a partner of the constitution internationally, actually. And tax agreements, trade agreements are above the constitutions which Turkey has signed with EU, the common market, and etc. Turkey just provocates the neighbors and everybody to create more power domestically on the society. So that's unfair, John. That's unfair. Variations are richness. All the colors are richness. The government ideology is one flag, one language, one religion, one type. This won't work in the 21st century. I know my society. This dress won't fit the Turkish society. It won't. It's out of fashion, this dress.
Well, if you were going to make a new dress, what kind of Turkish society would you like to see? Just a more
totally naked, so they can see the sizes and everybody's real face. Actually, totally naked. You have to get to get good dressed. You have to have someone to dream that you should get undressed for it. I mean, I don't know. I may be misspelling or cannot use my English very well on that. I mean, you have to be naked with your naive identity in the beginning before you put the dress on. And the dress is the dressing, the clothing depends on time, people, situation, etc. A human cannot have one dress. You should have variations. You have pajamas, you have tuxedos, you have blazers, you have sweatshirts. Depends. But these variations make you human. It's not the dresses. So for me, if you ask me a new dress, no dress. New, totally. First, we see each other nakedly, then we will come into the common and friendly. We can choose better, I believe. It's ironic, but it's a philosophy.
So maybe they should do the politics in a hammam instead of in the parliament then.
They do anyway. Actually, the Turkish parliament became like a hammam. Actually, it's Ferzan Özpetek's movie Hammam. You remember the Italian director, Turkish Italian director, and also hammam scene on the Midnight Express is very famous as well. So hammam of Turkish baths are very famous all around the world. So actually, not in hammam maybe because it's too hot. We are already too hot. But I don't know. The king is naked. Actually, this is the story. They should be naked first. No, I'm not. This is ironically. It is not the real naked, but everybody is pretend. They're full of pretenders in Turkey right now. Even my friends that I spent years. I mean, they are in the certain position in politics, in economics, in art, etc. I read them, I see their interviews, I see their movements. No, this can't be the person I know. The Turkish people has lost the identity control, actually, because they don't know where to go right now. Oh, this is okay, yeah.
But I mean, I think obviously because of the way that Turkish politics works now, that it's a kind of a one-man show, that everybody
one-man show, and
everybody has to pretend, if you like, for example, if you own a business, you want to get business for your hotel or whatever, you have to know the local AKP party, you have to know the people who are in charge in your
the police department, municipality, the governor. You have to know everybody, and you have to be accepted by them. That's,
the same is true in art as well, right? Like, I mean, this is why people like Bülent Ersoy are AKP supporters. That they
and he's fasting in Ramadan. She is fasting in Ramadan. He became she, actually. Mm-hmm. She is fasting in Ramadan in the palace of Erdogan in a holy fasting ceremony. But on the other hand, Hande Kader has been set to fire on the street and killed because she's transvestite. I mean, these two standards and double faces are bothering the people, because doesn't matter their decisions or their gender. It's the human life and untouchable laws of the human body. Actually, this... it's like a horror film what's happening on the streets. The police brutality, the government insulting other people. It's too much for me. That's why I closed down my business, sold all my belongings, and leave the country. I was making good money. I was very well known. I got the best clients all around the world. I work with a high society, including the AKP ministers' wives are my clients. I mean, they see me like an enemy, and they come to me for wedding dresses, etc. And I ask them, why you are coming to me? Your press is always targeting me. You are against me because you are the best and your title is a prestige. Yeah, I mean, I cannot live with those people. They're pretenders. It makes me sick.
In terms of how you see the current situation for gay rights in Turkey, I mean, there was a period from 2010 to 2013 where Istanbul Pride was like the biggest pride event in Europe, and certainly in any Muslim majority country, it was the biggest pride event. But obviously, since Gezi, the government started to suppress the LGBT movement.
Year after Gezi.
And then obviously incidents like Hande Kader's being murdered. And I mean, Turkish pop music is very gay. Like, you look back. It is.
Most of them are gay anyway.
You look back at the 90s and stuff, and, you see the kind of like camp Turkish pop music that was huge in the 90s and early 2000s, especially. I mean, even Turkish pop music has become a bit more macho now. You don't see so much like overt kind of like gayness in Turkish pop music. But like, obviously homosexuality in the Ottoman Empire was, it was very common for people, especially
legal, even in the palace.
Turkey was one of the first countries to legalize homosexuality. So, I mean, do you think that tolerance for gay rights and gay people in Turkey, obviously there's this tension between like the progressivism and conservatism within Turkey, and at the moment it feels like conservatism is winning. But do you think that Turkey can become more progressive again, or do you think that like it's just not going to happen while you have people like Süleyman Soylu said a few months ago that this LGBT thing is something that doesn't suit our values and that was introduced by the West? So he said, do we have such thing as LGBT in our past? So I want to ask you, Barbaros, were you gay before you studied in London, or did you import your gayness from the West?
It's not a disease that will transfer by touching or sleeping with some guy. I was born as a gay, and by up to 1980, being gay was no problem in Turkey. We were quite free.
It depends. It depends who you were, right? Like, I mean, maybe it was easier.
No. Even in Anatolia, everywhere, being gay was not a problem in Turkey. It all started in mid-70s. Before mid-70s, being gay was no problem. Zeki Müren was the biggest star of Turkey.
But it wasn't, like it wasn't necessarily that open. Like, I mean, Zeki Müren
No,
didn't
he
go
was
around.
very open. He was going to the gay bars. He was holding the dicks of the young guys. I mean, it's a gay. He declared he was a gay. Actually, he was never hidden this. Not only Zeki Müren, so many, Adnan Pekak and the others, even on the scene, I mean, in the cinema, Ali Poyrazoğlu and Levent Kazak made a film that two men sleeping in the bed together in late 70s. It was no problem for that. It's all started after the military coup, the reaction mostly. And then it's relaxed again up to 90s. But with AKP regime, in the beginning, there was no problem. Even Erdogan supported the LGBT people. He's got all videos you see with these questionings. But somehow they have to create an enemy to the society. This can be Kurds, that can be Alevitan, that can be Armenian, that can be Jew, that can be Kurdish, that can be gay. They have to find an enemy to consolidate their voters. That's the reason. 6 or 5% of the whole nation's population is created being gay. Oh, look at the UK. So big gay society, but you cannot walk hand to hand on the street, actually, because of conservative society.
I mean, I guess it depends where you are, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, if you live in Brighton or if you live in central London, it's easier to do that than if you live in like a small town. And I mean, I'm sure, it's also the same in Turkey. Like, there are places, like I remember, there are places like in Istanbul where I have seen guys holding hands,
Yeah, but only in Beyoğlu, in Istiklal, nowhere else, only one street. Cihangir, Taksim, that's all.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you go to Fatih or some of those conservative districts, you might get attacked by people there.
But most of the transsexuals located in Fatih anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Obviously, it's a very like. I mean, I think that there's a kind of sexual repression that you get in all societies, and you see it in Turkish society. That like you get this kind of. The fact that you have transsexual prostitution, sex workers very, very openly on the streets in Istanbul, to me, it speaks of a kind of sexual repression in the society that, guys are going to trans.
Actually, they are not transsexual, they are transvestites.
But I mean, it's a function of how sort of repressive sexuality is generally in Turkey, right? I mean, but do you think that it's worse now than it was when you were growing up?
It's worse, getting worse every day. About the LGBT rights, not only LGBT rights, basic human rights, gender equality, freedom of speech, etc. Getting worse and worse every day.
You say that, but I have seen like polling data that shows that people are more progressive now than they were 5 years ago on issues to do with women and gay rights.
No. Yeah, but this is you see these civil societies groups in certain places like Izmir, Istanbul, and Ankara. You are talking about a country with 85 million population, including 5 million Syrian refugees in it. And you see those people, 500 people, 300 people, 1,000 people maximum. And you see these universities, student clubs, and etc. But the press is making a huge thing out of a small thing because the opposition has no any evidence or any argument in the hand. They use these reactions and show to the society as a huge reaction, which not a huge reaction. I mean, I see all those demonstrations on the videos and news. It's not a huge crowd like Gezi Park or 1st of May in Taksim Square or many things, or Gay Pride, which I am the first one of the 3. We started the Gay Pride in Turkey, Istanbul, 24 years ago. Only 5 minutes we were allowed to walk because the police took us immediately into the car. What are you doing, faggots? And we reached up to the 75,000 people in 2013. And 2014, it's banned because of the LGBT clubs insisting They want to walk on Istiklal Street. With Dutch consulate, that meeting with the security director of Amsterdam was invited to Istanbul as well before the Pride. We offered them to make the Pride on the boats in Bosphorus, so no one will be bothered, and we can broadcast incredibly nice scenes to the world in the gay Pride instead of between the police and with the stress. Or some of them said, I don't know how to swim. Look, we are not going to swim. And then some of them said, oh, no one will see us. You are making your Pride not because other wants to see you. It's your freedom to express yourself, etc. So we could, and I'm
sure people would have seen. I'm sure people would have seen it if you'd got like lots and lots of people on a boat with, you know, pride flags.
Hundreds of boats, not only one.
And a big
50,
gay armada.
60 boats with flags. Yeah, big gay armada. They refused it. And I said, okay, from Divan Hotel, which is frontier of the Beyoğlu municipality, Şişli municipality, let's walk to Nişantaşı, where the governor house is there. That's a huge street as well, in the main one of the main avenues. They said, oh no, Istiklal is important. Okay, then the police didn't give a permission for Istiklal. But you were able to we talked with the government and security department of Istanbul as well. They allowed us to walk from Taksim to Elmada to Şişli direction. They said, you can, not Istiklal, upon order of Erdogan. Because Istiklal is actually demonstratively, it's an iconic street, very iconic in the history. That's why 6 and 7 September, you know, in 1955, all those Orthodox citizens of Istanbul, etc. This is very, anti-Greek program. It's very iconic place. That's why they are afraid of Taksim and Istiklal. So you can make, like the human rights statue in Ankara, they just covered it, you know, for demonstrations. Some address, they don't like it, actually, and the reaction makers, the demonstrators insist to make it on there. I can understand them, but they should create alternatives. Now they stuck in Kadıköy. They can even not go to European side. Only Kadıköy is allowed.
Do you worry that, like, I mean, sometimes I worry that, you know, if all of the progressive people, if all of the people who are being persecuted in Turkey decide to leave, you know, who is going to stay to do the protesting and to do the fighting that needs to happen? Or do you think that, you know, everybody just needs to wait for the government to change before you can, you know, before you can start doing something again?
No. It's not matter of the government. Opposition is the same. They are same shit, different asshole, actually. Excuse me to pronouncing that. But, I mean, you look to the opposition. Maybe HDP, the pro-Kurdish party, is a little more democratic. If you look to the parliament members of them, you see the variations a lot. But if you look to the secularists, if you look to the nationalists, if you look to the Islamics, actually, they are all same, John. Believe me, they are all same. And a point, different road, but same direction. Very nationalist, very conservative. I mean, if anything happens, which is not pro-Islam or pro-Turkish or pro-nationalism, etc., you see they became a bloc immediately. Don't touch Turkish. You know, look, first question yourself. I mean, they never negotiate. They're always reactive to each other. There is no deal.
One of the things that always strikes me as funny about nationalists and nationalism is that, you know, these people are supposed to be incredibly proud of their country, of their culture, and so on. But they act like, you know, they're incredibly weak and vulnerable, and that, you know, somebody saying something bad about their flag or their culture, you know, is the worst insult possible. I mean, surely they should have more, you know, more confidence in their culture.
Yeah, but they say about the flag. So the Turkish flag is like a holy thing for the society. But if you saw all those political meetings, you see the flag are on the floor and they eat nuts. sitting on top of it. I mean, like making a picnic on top of the flag. I mean, it's under their ass. It's no. It's the thing is, Turkish society. First of all, for me, if I examine it, Turkish people doesn't speak a lot of languages. They are not interested with international languages.
Like British people.
That. Yeah, but all the world is speaking English. All the prescriptions are English. At least it's international language, so they don't need to. But lately, British friends of mine, they started to learn several languages because it's important they understand. But actually, after the late Ottoman era, beginning of the Turkish Republic, the bourgeois used to speak French. French was popular because Ottomans has a lot of relations with French. And after 70s, English became more popular. But even so, Turkish people is not interested with any other language. Doesn't matter, Spanish, Japanese, etc. So whatever presented to them as a Turkish, they believe it's a Turkish originally. Today in the culture and art, in Turkish culture and art, when you see these folkloric songs or any pop songs, etc., they all translate to Turkish. It's all foreigner music. It's Byzantine. Turkish art music is a Byzantine music. So they believe it belongs to them. Actually, it's not. Of course, they have their own individuals.
In a way, it does belong to them, in the sense that the modern Turkey is the inheritor of parts of the Byzantine Empire, that parts of that culture.
It is actually, because it's the location and genetics and the people, hundreds of years living there. It's from generation to generation, the food, the music, the architect, etc. It's revolutionary and evolutionally. It's legacy to the other coming ones or living ones. That's normal. But
to understand, in a way, I kind of feel like, Turkish history is very long and complicated, and you kind of need a reasonably good education to be able to understand how diverse it is. And so, we can sit here as like privileged people and say, people should understand how diverse, how different Turkish history and the different histories that have gone into making Turkish history are. But if you're a poor person in, Eastern Turkey, and you've been taught in a school, just about modern Turkish nationalism, just from, the independence war or something, you don't really know much about Ottoman history. Of course, it's easy for the government to lie to you and tell you this is what it means to be Turkish.
Yeah, from the TV series, they learned their history, which is a fiction. Actually, it's not only Ottoman, 16 different establishments in the Turkish history as a land. And before that, Turks were shaman. They were not even an Islam member. The origin is shaman. So with the movements, with all those... going around the geography up to the north, south, from Central Asia. It's a lot of stories, fairy tales in it, of course, because it's not written history by then. And then who is Turkish, actually? If you look Turkmenistan, which is original Turks are left there, I mean, they're physically, you can tell this is Turkish. But if you look at Turkish people, we have blonde, we have black, we have... it's like being British, actually, or being American. I mean, being Turkish should be like being British or being American. So we lose the logic of being Turkish. We believe, we as a nation, we believe declaring being Turkish is enough to be Turkish.
I think that there's a problem where there's this kind of this overlap between Turkey as like a geographical place and Turkishness, or being Turkish as a kind of ethnic definition, right? Which what happened after the start of the Republic was that there was this Turkishness drive, this Turkification drive to kind of, suppress things that were not obviously Turkish, to change the names of lots of places, to use more Turkish words. And so this, the concept of Turkey as a place, as a geographical place, and Turkey as like a kind of ethnic definition kind of got merged together. And this kind of creates some problems. For example, I saw somebody, a reasonably famous scientist, TV presenter on Twitter saying, "Oh, St. George, it was St. George's Day the other day." They said, "Oh, St. George was a Turkish Roman soldier," and lots of people were saying, "Oh, you can't say St. George was a Turkish Roman soldier because obviously his mother was Greek, his father was Greek, his mother was from Palestine, probably also ethnically Hellenistic. You can't say he was Turkish." And she said, "Oh, well, I was just talking about where he came from geographically." And then people were saying, "Oh, well, Turkey didn't exist back then." And it's like, well, okay, there's that like awkwardness there of like, does Turkishness mean just the place in which different people live who are not necessarily entirely ethnically Turkish, or does it mean just when Ataturk said, "How happy is the one that says I'm a Turk?" Like, did he mean that as everybody should be Turkish even if you're not ethnically a Turk, or did he mean that everybody should get rid of this idea that you ever had an Armenian grandmother or a Bulgarian grandmother or whatever, and everybody's Turkish now?
You cannot pronounce your grandmother is Armenian or Pontiac or Orthodox. You cannot. Actually, originally they are. The Orphanos story of during the period of setting up the Turkish Republic. There are thousands of Orphanos schools all around Anatolia where these children come from. They are not fell from the space to this country. Of course, things happen. Like everywhere it happens. In Europe has 100 years of wars religiously. These things happen in human history. But the result is you have to name the nation's identity. Like, as I told you as an example, being British doesn't mean you are English. You can be English under the British, or you can be Welsh. They have a different flag. One guy has declared on the interview saying, he was immigrant to England years ago to UK, and he was going to Welsh after immigration and saw a different flag. And he was giving an example. It's a kingdom, but different flags are everywhere and doesn't create a problem to each other. It does, but Scotch, etc. But still, because of the rule of law, which is very important, and you have the Magna Carta since 800 years, etc.
I mean, have you seen how corrupt the British government is now?
I know. I read the comments as well. I know, but the thing is, basically, in UK. The working class, the diplomatic class, etc., or the aristocracy, people accept each other. They have to. There is no other choice. But in Turkey, the class system, invisibly caste system, actually. It's not with talent or with saving or finding something and creating an idea and making money. It's just stealing from each other.
I mean, I think you may be exaggerating the difference a little bit too much. I would say, the class system in the UK is also a kind of a caste system, and there's a lot of stealing that goes on by the people at the top of that system.
Well, all around the world, actually. Well, if there is a government, there is always thief, as you know that. All around the world, it's the same. Because if someone has the power to use the money of the people, of course it will spend it. If you will be a parliament member and you have an incredible budget, why you will fly economy? Of course you will get a first class ticket because the government pays it. Actually, the people pays it. So you don't pay it. That's upset. I can understand. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the opportunities to the people of the country could be more liberal or more equal in Turkey. It's not. It was, actually, but today it's not. You have to be pro-government, you have to be pro-religion, you have to be pro-nationalism, you have to know right people, you have to know right officials, corruption. And then you can be everybody. You can be everyone. You don't have to be educated, you don't have to be experienced, you don't have to be recognized. You will be feeling good. Turkish flag, Islam, etc. Now we go to America to war. actually, because of the Biden declaration. And, these things made me tired, John. Years I've been struggling, fight for my country, as you know, and you witnessed that. I still love Republic of Turkey. I still believe Republic of Turkey, and I don't have any other nationality or identity. I'm a Republic of Turkey citizen. I live it on this. I live now in North Cyprus. The thing is, I'm fed up and tired, so I decided to divorce because this marriage doesn't go. I mean, it doesn't work. It's too much harm. Too much. It's too much. It's not worth it for me anymore. First of all, I need the guarantee of my life and my belongings, which doesn't exist in Turkey. You read the news. The government overnight can take all the holdings of the people or bring new things, etc. Illegally, they do it. It's against the constitution. And I'm not afraid that losing my wealth, it's no problem. It's not the matter of fact. But the thing is, I mean, when I see this society and the change of my life. I mean, when I was a child and I started age of 7 with my grandmother to couture with İnönü and Toto Karaca dresses. Imagine, they were very popular ladies as well. So I see all those bourgeois aristocracy, foreigners, etc. I mean, and I see the change of the society.
So do you feel, having moved to Cyprus, do you feel, do you miss anything about Turkey, or do you,
No. I created my own villa. I invested. I bought my land. Now I'm investing in Cyprus and abroad as well. I can freely travel to South Cyprus with my Turkish passport because I have a Republic of Cyprus visa. And my personality. I am also in communication with Mr. Petrides at the moment, Defense Minister of the Republic of Cyprus, Mr. Christodoulidis, Foreign Minister, Mr. Evriviades, which was a High Commissioner for Commonwealth from Cyprus in London in St. James Square. We used to have coffee together. So with my international relations and friends, I can travel freely still. And I don't have to prove with my belongings or bank accounts to get a visa. Actually, my British visa was refused in Istanbul because this guy, when I bring all those papers, it's a funny story. And the secretary of the Istanbul General Consulate is a friend of mine. For visa applicants, since years I was not traveling to UK, and renewing visa, I went to the visa office, and I declare all those company bank accounts, etc. The guy on the desk look at, hey, but Mr. Sansal, we know you. This is too much. Take these papers back. This is enough. And the guy sent me an email, sir, I am not satisfied that you will return from UK. And I called the secretary, what's this shit? I mean, I've been refused. And then they apologize and apply again because the British guy who just came from UK to work in the consulate in visa department doesn't know anyone in Turkey. He just checked the papers.
He didn't know who you are, Barbaros.
No.
How is that possible?
It's possible because he never met me. If he would met me, he will not ask any card after one night. Don't worry. I mean, well, they replaced it. They replaced it. And he apologized. He phoned me up and apologized. But doesn't matter. It's not being personality. I'm why Cyprus, if you ask me a question, because I'm since 1965. I was very young and child because my pensionary primary school best friend for 5 years was a Cypriot Turkish. And every summer vacation, I used to come to the Cyprus Island since 1965 to 1970, 5 years almost. Every summer, 20 days, I used to come. And he used to come to our Istanbul house. And during the 1974, my stepfather was looting Cyprus, actually, not Cyprus. He was a businessman. And after 1980, now, when I returned from UK to Turkey, started to work at my master in fashion. I was a tailor of Semra Özal, Berna Yılmaz, etc. And I used to come to Cyprus and buy fabrics and tissues and laces because coming from UK is too much by then. And so we decided with Mr. Mayruk to buy a land and build a house for our retirement and transfer all our archives and belongings and etc. and start again a new life. I can rest now. now. He rests and very happy now. He's resting. And I will open a fashion philosophy school called Gusto Cyprus, which I have a new company called Proper Cyprus. And it will be philosophically educate fashion instead of producing dresses. But we have enough material and atelier. We moved the atelier to Cyprus as well and blocked it now in the archives. So 7 countries are 20 minutes flight to Cyprus Isle. It's Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Syria, Turkey, Egypt, and Greece. 7 countries in 20 minutes by plane you can reach. We are trying to set up an education system involving all Eastern Mediterranean cultures and creating a common fashion philosophy out of those backgrounds and cultures and for education. This is in our new plans. Also publishing and producing books. My new 2 books are coming soon, etc. I'm a writer at the same time. I have 4 books. And I will multiply my books.
And anything else you'd like to do?
I'm a star.
Anything else you'd like to do?
I want to be a prostitute. I want to be a prostitute. I never get paid. I always paid. This is bothering me. I never been get paid.
I mean, I thought maybe you had a higher ambition, like, helping to reunify Cyprus or something like that.
This is my target. This is my target. I'm working hard for it with the Unite Cyprus now, with the Cure Kybros, and with a lot of civil societies, both in South and North, and also Maronites. There's a Christian Arab community on the island, and also Armenian community. There are 4 main communities on the island. It's not an easy job. I am not a hero. I am not... I don't have enough power. Yes, I am.
Why?
I am very optimistic because I'm living now in North Cyprus and seeing the situation of the Turkish Cypriots has a Republic of Cyprus identity and European passport anyway, because they are citizens of the Republic of Cyprus. But the problem was the Turkish population moved from Turkey by the government strategies to more Islamized and nationalized north of Cyprus with the Turkish culture invasion, occupied with the culture and economically. That was the target of the Republic of Turkey. But now today, the Turkish Cypriots are very bothered with that because they realize they are losing their international rights because no one recognized the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus. Even today, Sunday Express in London had a little article what's very funny. The Sunday Express anyway, the newspaper. Now they went to Geneva for unofficial talk. European community are 5+1 now involving in it. So because Republic of Cyprus is a European country, they are in Eurozone, not in Schengen, but in Eurozone, etc. So because Niyazi Kızılyürek, the European Parliament member from Akel Party from South, Turkish Cypriot now in European Parliament, why Greek Cypriots were able to enter to the EU? Because Greece was already in EU and the Constitution of Europe was translated to Greece already. So it was easy for the Greek part of the isle went into the European community. But if we can manage by federation or some other solution, if we can manage the whole island went into the EU, so Turkish language will be official European language and the constitution will be translated to Turkish. That will open the gates to the Republic of Turkey because already Turkish constitution will be recognized by the European Council and Parliament and the commissions. That's the key. And making a peace where actually the position is war right now, ceasefire war, the Cyprus. But if we can create a peace, I mean, can you imagine when the Lefkoşa Nicosia, the city is divided like a Berlin with the barrels and walls. And from one end of the isle to the south end of the isle is only 40 minutes drive and it's a divided country. It's like dividing London with the Thames. It's stupid. It's two societies are really tired out of it. We had a big demonstration 2 days ago in both sides. Thousands of people, even during the pandemic, they demonstrated for peace and reunification. Turkish Cypriots wants the reunification finally after 43 years.
But isn't the question, do the Greek Cypriots want it? Because they seem like they've been the stumbling block so far.
No. I talk the ex-finance minister about the land and property issue you talk about. Maybe this is one of the disturbing reasons, because 91% of the northern Cyprus belongs to Greek Cypriots, because Turks were living in the south and Greeks were living mainly in north before the 74. 200,000 Greeks moved to south and 60,000 Turks went to the north and took all the belongings of the Greek Cypriots of 200,000 people. And rich part was north, actually, normally in the Cyprus. But the thing is, this during the Kofi Annan period, these all issues and the Berlin Agreement, these all issues are solved. By the constitution, if you are occupying some other people's land more than 40 years ago. But if you invested 25% of the value on reconstruction or construction, you have right to get it first as an occupier. These all issues legally are solved. There are two main issues at the moment. They stuck in this way, both sides. It's a presidential system South is wearing, and North doesn't have a presidential system. It's a negotiator. The president, Tatar, is not a president, actually. They name after it. It's just negotiation, head negotiator. And they say, because 1% out of 4 is Turkish, 3% out of 4 is Greek. Orthodox, almost. Mm-hmm. So the presidential system, the election is every 4 years. So Greek part says, okay, 2 presidents, 3 years Greek, 1 year Turkish, because of the population. Mm-hmm. But Turkish part says, no, 2 years Greek, 2 years Turkish. You know, they're just gaming, actually. This can be solved. Actually, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus was set up by Kenan Evren and Denktaş. Not Özal never agreed with that. Özal was offering the kind of Belgium federation solution for the isle. But Kenan Evren, the military coup maker, the general, and Denktaş has declared the Northern Republic of Turkish Cyprus. Before that, Turkish member of parliaments were in the Republic Parliament. And plus, Turkey, Greece, and UK is a guarantor of Republic of Cyprus up to 1960s establishment and the constitution. Turkey is not a guarantor of the North Cyprus. Turkey is an official guarantor of the Republic of Cyprus, south of Cyprus. And today, if you go to south, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, whatever is shampoo or any cosmetic, everything is made in Turkey in the south because of the common market. And if you buy a toothpaste from the south, it's £5, for example. And if you go and buy same made in Turkey toothpaste, it's £10. Because of North Cyprus is using the Turkish lira currency, but they have to import everything via Turkey because of those embargoes and the unrecognized country, or they can export and import via Green Line, which heavily taxed as well via UN. So everything is at the situation in the North Cyprus, and EU aids, international aids, etc., goes always to south. Nothing comes to north. Turkey is giving some to north and getting all the construction, making hotels, everything belongs to Turkey. Actually, Turkey is keep looting the North Cyprus. So the Turkish Cypriots are now waking up, actually, finally, and they want their international recognition, first of all.
Well, I'm glad that you're optimistic. I think, you know, it's perhaps it's the curse of political optimists like us that we have to deal with politicians and leaders who are so cynical. And, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe they just need to all get naked and sit down, look at each other's dicks, and then decide, you know, what to do about things.
or ass, whatever you look for it. I don't mind, but just I don't mind, or vagina. I don't mind.
Well, Ross, I'm gonna have to go because it's almost my bedtime here, and I live a very healthy lifestyle here in Milan. You know, I get up early, I go to bed early. I try not to drink too much.
Maybe quarter of my life has been spent in Lombardy, in Milan and Como, because of my job and my business. All my companies like Ratti, Taroni, Clerici Tessuto, Luigi Verga. I used to come a lot to Milan, and I miss Milan sometimes. Yes,
I'll send you a picture. You have to send me a picture of your villa in Cyprus. I want to see what it looks like.
You should promise to me not to share with everyone, because I need a devil eye. I will be cracked because of the devil eyes on that. I have a good life. Via WhatsApp, I will send you, or DM, I will send you the photos of my villa.
No, just for my eyes. No, I'll have the Nazar Bonjour while I'm looking at the picture. Nobody else will see. You know.
Okay. A little garlic, etc., for the vampires. It was nice to see you and talk to you.
It was nice to see you too, Barbaros. I hope we can do it in person one day, and we can have a drink together.
In November, I will participate in the British Kebab Awards in London again. Maybe you will be around.
Yeah, I hope so.
But last time I was in the table of Jeremy Corbyn, but this time I will be in the table of Boris Johnson. It's so surprising. He's participating as well, declared. Ibrahim Daoush. Yeah.
Well, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And maybe you can make him a nice suit of completely transparent fabric so that everybody can see what's underneath.
Yeah, but first of all, he has to go to hairdresser.
He'll never go to a hairdresser. That's part of his act. That's his act. He just likes to look messy.
Yeah, but it's sweet. He's an Ottoman origin. Don't forget.
I mean, he's. I don't think people are very pleased with him at the moment because.
I see. But the British people never pleased with their governors, even not with Thatcher or others. They always go like Turks. We are very similar, actually. Whoever comes, we are not happy.
Of course not. Why would we be happy?
That's the reason. That's what I am too. I'm the Çarşı group. You know Çarşı group, the Beşiktaş football team. Çarşı, her şeye karşı. I am like this. I am opposition to everything.
Çarşı is against everything, right? Exactly.
Yeah, me too. Even I look to my face in the mirror when I wake up, I'm against my face as well in the mirror.
I know, Barbaros. I've got so many more grey hairs since the pandemic started. It's not fun. It's not good. I don't like aging, and you need to give me some tips for how to do it. And still seem like a young person.
Naturally, walnut leaves, the walnut tree leaves, boil them and wash with it. The gray will disappear.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for that.
Tips and hooks on the house. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely time in Cyprus. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.